So, hello everybody. Today, I've got Sapna, and Sapna and I, we know each other because we co-run Reading Mumpreneurs, which we've been doing since 2016. And the reason I've got Sapna on today is Sapna has been, during lockdown and beyond, she has been running her Doortraits, which have been exceptionally well received. She's managed to get lots of press from it. I think particularly what I love about them, not only the stunning imagery, so Sapna's a photographer, web developer, I'll let her introduce herself in a second, but also the fantastic stories that she captures from the subjects of her Doortraits as well, which I think has made them particularly special, and I think why so many other people have loved them as well. So I'm just going to hand over to Sapna, just to introduce herself quickly, and then we'll find out more about how the Doortraits came about and what's happening next with them. So over to you, Sapna.
Hi, I'm Sapna Odlin. I'm a photographer, weddings, branding, family photographer, that kind of thing. But my main background is that I have 20 odd years of web development experience. So yeah, I make small websites for creatives in Reading and also run Reading Mumpreneurs with you, Tanya.
Yes, a very busy person. You also have another group, don't you? Your creatives collaborations group as well.
Oh yes, I've got it's a Berkshire Creatives group, that's right. It was kind of set up for artists and creatives in Reading to be able to exchange skills and services, and just to be able to just take advantage of each other's kind of skills without having to, pay lots of money that they can't afford. For example, if somebody wanted a headshot but didn't want to pay, or couldn't afford to pay the going rate for it, but could offer, a month's worth of cakes, or I don't know, whatever the value may be, just to be able to exchange those skills and to be able to network with other creatives and that kind of thing.
So brilliant. So yeah, bartering in a sense, as opposed to the standard way of paying.
Yes, exactly.
So moving on to the Doortraits. So how did the Doortraits come about? What made you decide to do them?
It started off really in the middle of lockdown, quite early on. I was photographing. I live in a beautiful Georgian block of flats right near the Royal Berkshire Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And as the traffic kind of died down, and the ambulances sirens kind of picked up, because we're on the main road right near the RBH. People started kind of talking to each other, and I had the idea, along with some of my other some of the flat owners, just to be able to take some portraits of them. It was kind of intended as an olden kind of style of photographing for your house, just in lockdown. It's just something really I don't know, moving about that kind of photograph in lockdown, in that time, when everybody else is the same, experiencing the same experience all over the world, and just having the same concerns and issues and whatever. That was kind of it, really. And it wasn't about really looking beautiful or having the perfect picture, really. It was just a snapshot in time of people's lives. So that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, so really sort of it's capturing those memories, capturing that. I wouldn't say it's difficult, isn't it? Because lockdown was it's a time that we wish never happened, but at the same time it was this very kind of unique time, and there was, as you say, some kind of unifying moment. As you say, everyone was going through the same thing around the world, so being able to capture that was pretty, something pretty special to do. So you say it started off with just photographing your neighbours. So what happened after that? How did it become a bigger thing?
Well, I thought, there was photographing people on their doorsteps is not a unique thing. People have been doing street photography since cameras existed. And
Mm.
I thought, there's a picture, but there's also kind of a story behind the picture and the family and the experience, and not necessarily a family. There's people kind of living on their own, and I didn't know what it felt like to be. I knew what it felt like to homeschool 2 kids and still be working full time, and all of those kind of things. But I didn't know what it was like for a single person, how isolating that must be, or how dull it must be just to get through day after day of. And I was just really interested in the story of people. And a couple of people did actually write their stories. And no, I really believe in the healing power of telling your story. And that's that, along with the people wanting to tell their story and really opening themselves up to, telling me and other people about their stories. I think it really helped them. And that's how I kind of got addicted to it, really. I wanted lots of unique stories, unique people, and people were really fascinated with them, and the people writing the stories were concerned that their stories weren't, exciting enough, or I don't know, what they thought that people would be interested in. But actually it was the everyday things that people are interested in when it comes to, and that's why reality TV is popular, I guess. It's just that people are actually interested in just what makes us similar, what connects us. It's not, celebrities kind of looking amazing on red carpets. It is just the people that live in and around Reading and going through the same experience. And I think that's what's resonated in people, is that, they've read stories and felt really, really moved by some of the stories, but also felt connected to the people in the portraits as well.
Yeah, as you say, it's that connection, isn't it? It's something you can relate to. And as you say, celebrities, airbrushed, these lives that, you only see part of, you don't really connect to. But as you say, these are everyday people who are going through similar things. And I think also, as you say, the healing power of telling a story. And not only for the person telling the story, but for those who are actually going, I'm going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's a relief to hear someone else say that. So, it's, I think particular poignant one for me was the lady who suffers from anxiety, and she was telling her story. As somebody with PTSD, I saw similarities in that, and I just thought that's amazing and very brave of her to tell that story. But again, I saw something in that, and I know a lot of other people will have taken something away from that. So it's just, so powerful. And I think that's what hooked me into your Doortraits, was the stories as much as the the stunning pictures as well. They just fantastic. So do you have any favorites, or any particular ones that are particularly memorable to you? Because there's been a fair few now.
I think my neighbours have to be my favourites, because I see them every day, and I kind of imagine them in their portraits now. And some of them have taken those photos and and posted the mounted prints to their family, who they couldn't obviously see during lockdown and stuff. So that was, and they obviously told me their stories. And if other people had done that, they've not told me about it. But I kind of see my neighbours every day. But obviously it has to be Matt downstairs, who was in the BBC South Today interview, and has been really, really helpful. And I practically forced him to tell his story.
So if I share the screen,
he was
so if I share the screen, I can pull up Matt's one. If we just go to, where's Instagram gone? Oh, looking at hang on, we've lost Instagram. Hang on. This is not as seamless as I thought this was going to be.
There's that one as well, but Christine, the nurse.
Yeah, that's the particular one. I'm just going to see if I can get it up. Hang on. There we go. That's what I may be doing wrong. There's usually incredibly. There we go. Right. Okay, so we share now. So which one we have is, which one's Matt? We're looking at your Instagram now. This one here, Matt Cook.
Further down.
Further down. Okay, hang on if I come back out.
Yeah, that's him.
Which one? Which one?
Yeah,
this one here. Yeah, that one there. Okay.
Matt, there's two of them.
Oh, this is Chris Hall. So this is one of your neighbours, Chris?
This is, no, this is Chris Hall from Telford Road. Matt's the one with the ball in his hand on his own.
Yeah, which is, yeah, this is the one, yeah, this one here, Matt Cook. So here. So this one here is Matt. So he's, so you're saying he was one of your favourites?
Yeah, he was just so happy and just like always so helpful and just such a kind person and stuff. And he lives in the flat underneath us and never complains about the children running around and whatever. But when I asked him to kind of write his story, you know, it took quite a long time to do it because I don't think he was naturally kind of able to kind of write down his words, but he was just like really grateful to me again in the end for you know, kind of almost forcing him to tell his story. But yeah, he was obviously part of the BBC Saturday interview and, you know, he was interviewed in that, and so he's obviously one of my favorites. But also Christine, the nurse, I think she's a couple before him.
Yeah, hang on, where was she? I saw her. Hang on. There she is. This one here.
It's a bit of a delay, I think.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of a delay. This one, has it come up?
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and she was the one,
So
wasn't it? Hers.
It kind of was.
Okay. I think we're going to stop because I think there's something with the connection here. I'm going to stop sharing. So, and say, are you back? Yeah, because the connection completely went then. So what were you saying about Christine?
Oh, right. So it started all really with her in that, you know, when I expected people to write when I asked people to write their stories, you know, I wasn't really expecting as much of people to be opening up as much as they had and sharing so much with me and other people. But Christine was kind of the first, and she kind of really got into the shoot, and she had photos of her family that she wanted to be shot with. So she was holding like a photo frame and she had flowers that reminded her of her garden. She wanted her cat in there that she kind of, you know, is kind of her little mini world at the moment. And her garden that she's out there every day just looking after her hostas that she kind of gifts to me sometimes and that kind of thing. And that's how it kind of started, is with her. I just realized, you know, what the Doortraits could be is kind of with her. And, you know, she was saying that she was her family in New Zealand. She wasn't really sure when she was going to see them again and that kind of stuff. And that portrait ended up being commented on by Kate Middleton.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Which was a complete shock. It was all over the paper. You know, Christy, yeah, they were everywhere. Just like they've been in something like 5 different newspapers and online. I don't know how many or where. I keep Googling myself just to check. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. And then obviously BBC Saturday and Kiss House and just so many interviews and stuff.
Radio interviews as well.
With her because she was the one that. Yeah, but mainly just the fact that Kate Middleton had commented on that photo means that everybody else was then interested in that photo. Not for the necessarily the reasons that I started doing the Doortraits, but obviously, you know, she comments on something and the world goes mad. So it kind of started with that even though that's not the reason that I did it, I can't help but think that's kind of how it started, really. That's
how everything started. It sort of grew and snowballed, if you want to, for want of a better term. Yeah. Although
that's right.
I'd say take some credit because again, you know, the papers wouldn't have picked, even if she'd commented on it. If the photo's stunning, and you said the papers wouldn't have picked up on the photos or wouldn't have republished the photos if they weren't really worth republishing. And then, again, I think what's made yours special is not just the stunning photography, as you say, it's the stories. And she was probably commenting on the story that went with it as much as the photo, didn't she? So And it's your again, it's not just the people's story, it's again, you put your own bit into the beginning of each story as well, your own intro, which I think is also quite special as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think they've
yeah.
yeah.
So they're all my kind of neighbours and community. That's kind of what I wanted to do, is introduce how these how I knew these people, what connection I had with them. They weren't just random people that I was photographing. And that's yeah, reminded me about that.
That's a story in itself.
It is actually, yeah. I didn't want
Yeah.
to take too much away from their story, but the introduction of how I know them, whether they're a friend or a neighbour, or another photography community people that I know, and just like I just realised myself actually how diverse a network I have, and just the jobs that people do, and where people live, and you know, their own households and that kind of stuff. That made me realise, you know, I know a seismologist, I know
Wow.
a virus, like I know so many like amazing people that yeah, I kind of wanted to tell their story from my point of view, just as an introduction.
And have you got to know your
Yeah,
neighbours?
I had actually forgot about that, but thank you.
You're welcome. And have you got to know your neighbours more since lockdown? The fact you're all at home.
Yeah, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we've got the communal, because I live in a flat. We've had the communal gardens and stuff, and people have kind of, you know, socially distanced, but you know, kind of just made the effort a little bit more. I think there was a couple of the a couple in a flat, you know, a couple of doors down, and they'd both had the virus. One of them had ended up in hospital.
Oh, no.
And the other lady had pneumonia, and you know,
oh my goodness,
slowly saw them get better. You know, the husband was like half the weight that he had been, and it's just awful. Just thinking that it's actually got that close to us, you know, literally next door kind of thing. So yeah, it's kind of brought everyone closer. And now they're better. You know, you obviously the relationship continues. So you know, we check in on them, and there's a WhatsApp group, and people kind of ask if anybody needs anything. That's obviously kind of died down a little bit now, but when it in the peak of it, that's what people were doing, just offering to help each other out and do shopping for people and that kind of thing.
Brilliant.
My toilet roll.
Vital. But yeah, I think that's one of the positives that's come out of it, isn't it? It's brought people closer, that you're not all in your own little bubbles doing, you know, everyone was rushing around chasing their own tails to have, you know, you had your work, your lives, and you didn't really communicate with those around you. And I think that's part of what your Doortraits have done, has captured that community spirit, and the fact that, you know, out of an awful situation, one of the positives is that the people, we've become closer to the people around us, and I think only good can come from that. And in sort of in terms of what's next for your Doortraits, you have started photographing businesses now, haven't you?
Yeah, so it felt like a natural progression really for me, just for the businesses. So a lot of the Doortraits that I was doing, especially the more kind of frontline people, I didn't charge people for those. And then when I did start charging the families who just wanted a photo, some money went to Launchpad, and I thought, you know what, there's something else in this. There was two ideas really. One, that I wanted to be the platform for BAME frontline workers, but you know, luckily I'm one of the businesses that's done quite well out of the in the lockdown. So you know, at some point I think, you know, I just had to say to myself, you're just doing too much. And I've continued to kind of do the Doortraits, but I've kind of thought it's a really big project to photograph the BAME frontline workers. So it might be something I'll pick up at some point in a different project, but not that. But yeah, the other idea, as you say, was I thought the natural progression really was that, because I've enjoyed the storytelling and the networking and whatnot, that naturally I wanted to kind of help out other creative businesses or small businesses in Reading. So why not photograph businesses on their doorstep, and they can tell their story about how the lockdown has affected their business, and we can have build a connection with each other, so they naturally get to meet me without being on social media. They benefit from my social media followers, not that I have a lot, but just they can benefit from that and I can benefit from theirs. It's just like a mutual beneficial kind of situation, and they get a mounted print out of it. So so that was the idea, and I think it's going quite well. I really enjoyed meeting the business owners, and again, it's another great thing about the Doortraits really is that I get to see parts of Reading that I'd never really have any reason to go to normally. So I've just really enjoyed just finding out, like Swallowfield, that's the last place I went to
that was to the yoga. Down there. So so you're saying you don't have that many followers. You've got, let's say, you've got around 2,000, but I think what you do as well is not your direct followers, and it's something I've noticed as well, is you share it in other groups. So I think you put a lot of work into actually getting the Doortraits out to a wider audience beyond your followers, which again I think adds so much value as well. I say, I think it's around 2,000 you have on Facebook and Instagram combined, which is nothing to sniff at. But yeah, I think it's the wider reach you get from all the groups you post, you do your bit to promote the Doortraits as well. Again, which I think adds a lot of value. So who have you? So you've done. We talked about a mutual. We talked about the yoga instructor. So who else have you done business wise?
I did the Bridges estate agent in Caversham. I've got a couple booked. Who's the lady in Caversham? She does like training on like cycle awareness or something like that, and baby yoga and that kind of thing. Everybody knows her. I can't remember her name. I feel terrible. But her, so I managed to get her. This is awful. I can't remember her name. I will remember. But I managed to forward her Doortrait and her story. Hers was kind of quite interview style, so it wasn't as like the others. So I thought this is actually really well written, and the photographs were always also really good, and she's done really well in promoting herself as well. But I thought I'd forward it to some kind of magazine contacts that I have, and they were quite interested in featuring her. So she's I've managed to get her some publicity out of it as well. So for 50 quid, and
it's a really good value.
It's really good value, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So so you did that extra bit as well, as you say, you got the extra publicity.
Like I said, I mean, it's naturally something I enjoy doing anyway, just helping other businesses out if I can. It helps me just kind of build my networks with people. It helps them. It's just mutually beneficial for kind of everybody, and if they get some publicity out of it as well, it's even better that I can feel like I've gone the extra mile for them. So them, and I think Sarah Collinson is a running friend, but also a business friend of mine. I've forwarded hers as well, and a few other people. So I mean, if it's a interesting story, or something that they want to talk about, they don't have to. I quite clearly tell them if they want to promote their business, that's exactly what it's for, and they can do that, and I can link back to the. It helps with the Google as well, because I write a blog about some of them, so it will link back to their website, and hopefully they'll link back to me. So it's a really nice little project, I think.
And sort of helping each other. So if anyone watching this,
and we're doing
and we're doing mine tomorrow, aren't we? Yes. Yes, we are in the thunder by the looks of so there could be some quite dramatic flashes.
Oh, really?
We need to check the weather forecast for tomorrow. It keeps changing, but last time I looked it, so it could be interesting. But if anyone wants one.
Sorry, just one last one. So I did one for Charlotte Lilliard. Poor lady, she lost her husband about 18 months ago.
No.
a single parent, and she makes amazing jewelry.
Mm.
She's just so understated. She doesn't really advertise her jewelry. I didn't realize how good it was. And hers ended up being a business story. It wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be just a personal one, but it was ended up being a bit of a business one, in that, I could get her people to follow her a little bit, and it's just such a sad story, that just what's happened to her, and what it must be like to be a single mom of such a young child and grieving in that time.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine.
Awful. But so she was another lady with so I drove to hers. I was cycling everywhere to all the Doortraits. So when I was cycling back, he decided to absolutely throw it down with rain. It was that kind of rain where I couldn't actually see. I had to stop because my glasses were completely covered in water.
Oh no.
It was actually dangerous to continue. So I had to stop near a shop. So if I can deal with that, I can.
A bit of thunder. It's not going to hurt. So so there's mine tomorrow. But if anyone else is interested, what do they need to do to get in touch with you if they're interested in having a Doortrait?
Can I add a link to this live?
Yes, you can add a link to the live later. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're interested, look out for the link to this live. And certainly I'm having one tomorrow. You say the images are stunning. The story is your words, but again, Sapna does this extra bit by introducing you as well. And again, she'll share you on social media, to her own pages, but again, she does a lot of extra, as again I've seen her post in extra places in other groups, and again she'll if relevant try and get your extra publicity. So for £50, very, very good value. But I think you say you do it for the love of it, aren't you? It's not about making you rich. It's that love of the photography, of telling the stories and helping people out during these ongoing uncertain times. So do get in touch. But thank you, Sapna. It's been great to hear and sort of hear about the story behind the Doortraits, and also just have a look at her. Again, we'll put her links to Sapna's Instagram and to her Facebook underneath this post. But have a look at them. They're absolutely stunning, and the stories are all very, very inspiring. So again, thank you, Sapna, and thanks to anyone who has been watching, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.